Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves. You're about to meet an artist whose stories read like a movie and whose voice can stop time. From the very beginning, it was clear that Ayda Khan was destined for something extraordinary. At just 12 years old, Oprah Winfrey herself called her one of the world's most talented kids, shining a light on a young girl with a gift far beyond her years. People began to say she was more than just a singer. She was an inspirational, motivational rock star with a voice that needs a stage. And just 2 years later, she proved them right, standing on one of the most iconic stages in the world, the Apollo Theater in Harlem. Ida delivered a jaw-dropping performance, and I'm telling you that she just didn't earn the applause it brought the house down. That night, she walked away with first place crowned star of tomorrow, and her story was just only beginning. She's captivated audiences nationwide with her rich, soulful voice and magnetic stage presence. Her artistry spans R&B, pop, rock, soul, jazz, country, and Broadway, making her a true vocal chameleon with emotional depth at her core. But wait until you hear this. Ida has performed on TVO Kids. The Prime Radicals lent her voice to beloved shows like Math Explosion and Science Explosion. She was requested by CBC TV's Little Mosque on the Prairie in 2010 to showcase her diverse talents in both singing and acting. Now, in 2013, she also was selected by Novella Limited to sing on a kids' cartoon web series titled Pinky Cooper and the Jet Set Pets. She shared a stage with Cardinal Official and Carl Wolf at the Pan Am Games, represented Canada on the world stage bringing home gold medals, earned scholarships to the New York Film Academy, and has been featured by the Ottawa Citizen, National Post, CBC Radio, and even Oprah.com. It's the kind of resume that makes you stop and say, wow, she's from Canada? From small stages in Canada's to international spotlights, Ida has been building toward this moment, a moment where she stepped fully into her artistry, fearless, authentic, and ready to share her voice with the world. Please welcome to the stage the powerhouse, the storyteller, the voice you'll never forget, Ayda Khan. Ayda, thank you so much for your time and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. And that introduction, thank you. It makes me feel really happy just thinking about everything that I've accomplished. And yeah, it's still just the beginning.
This resume of yours, it's kind of like we're getting a job right out of high school and they say, I want experience to get experience. And your resume is all of this experience. So now I'm ready for the CEO job. Get out of my way.
Yep, yep. I have yeah.
It's the
Just
the 15 years experience for an entry level job. No, I get it.
yeah, no, it's there's a lot that happened, growing up, and my entire life as a child and as a teenager was just like go to school, go home, practice, perform. And like the amount of performances I've done was just it was a lot. It was a lot to handle, but I loved it. I was the just being on stage and that, all that practice was worth it because that feeling of performing and making people smile in the audience, it just makes me feel amazing. It makes me feel like electric.
Now, you've been performing since the age of 3.
Yes. Yeah.
So, as you talked about these early years, you were on stage with these multitude of performances. Okay, so walk me through this. Age 3, we're still, putting on our nappy, we're learning to brush our teeth and singing songs about hygiene and eating waffles. And here you are up on stage performing.
Okay, so I wasn't the typical 3-year-old who like sang Twinkle Twinkle. So let's just put it that way. Um, I have an older sister who is 10 years older, so the music that she was listening to definitely had an influence on me. I was 3 in 2000. I was born in 1997, so early 2000s music was my huge inspiration. And um, Before that, though, there was a show that I used to watch with my grandfather. It's called Kid Songs. This is what really started the journey of, oh, I can do that. That's something I can do. I can see myself on that stage as well. So there was a show called Kid Songs, and every episode there was just a bunch of kids singing different songs in different scenarios. And there was this one episode called "I Want to Be a Fireman," and they were singing a song. I forget the lyric. I want to be a fireman with a hook and ladder truck, saving all the buildings, something like that. Anyways, so they were singing that in a fire station. And when I saw people my age or a little older singing, I was like, okay, well, if they can do that, I can do that. And I was a very outspoken kid. Like, I wasn't one of those shy kids in the corner. Like, I would say what I feel the moment I was able to start talking. So I asked my grandfather, can we go to a fire station? And he said, sure, let's go. So we go to the fire station, and I walk up to the firemen and I say, can I sing you all a song? And I put them all in a line because I wanted them to be like an audience. And I started singing that song at the fire station right after watching that episode. So that's what I would say, that's like the first thing that made me really feel like I can do this as well.
Wow. I love that story, and thank you for sharing that. And again, most people would be like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm too shy, but here we are like, Ida, let's go. Yeah, why not? And I
Yeah.
love that your grandpa was just like, absolutely.
Oh, my grandfather was he's so supportive. He's still very supportive of my music, and yeah, anything I'd ask, he would push me to like, he was also my motivation as well. Like, he always supported me, and so that was really good for me.
And Ida, if we rewind the clock for a moment here and we say, you know what, you did your fire hall song when you were 3, and then you said, you know what, this isn't actually for me anymore. I
Yeah.
want to go do what? What would little Ida say that she wanted to be?
So my my favorite singer at that time was Avril Lavigne. And my mom had got me a karaoke machine when I was 4. And that's actually what also helped me learn how to read. So the karaoke machine has all these popular songs. There was a song, I'm With You by Avril Lavigne, Complicated by Avril Lavigne, Genie in a Bottle by Christina Aguilera, Hit Me Baby One More Time by Britney Spears. And I'm just this like 4-year-old trying to learn how to read and listen to the artist and then try to do it myself. And there was this fair behind my school when I think I was 5, and they had a stage and a whole karaoke setup. So went up to the DJ and I asked, "Do you have any Avril Lavigne songs?" And he said yes. So I decided to sing in front of everyone at the fair. I sang "I'm With You" by Avril Lavigne, and I felt like a rock star. Like, that's when I wanted, like, that's when I knew, like, this is the path that I want to take. It was very early on that I knew what I wanted. And that next year, I joined the choir at my school. And when I realized the kind of songs they were singing, I felt like, what are these little kids singing? And, but I'm also a little kid. They were singing like, Twinkle, Twinkle. And I went up to the teacher and I'm like, why are they all singing with me? And she's like, because this is a choir, Ida. We all sing together. And I said, can't we sing any cool songs? And the teacher was looking at me like, what do you mean by cool songs? And so I quit the choir the first day that I joined because I wanted to be a solo singer singing the cool songs.
Well, I mean, the choir has its place, and certainly to
Yeah,
harmonize, but yeah,
yeah,
your stardom, no. But okay, so we're on the stage, we've done our school performance, where Britney
yeah.
Spears, Christina Aguilera, all of these fantastic 2000s, kids bops, Planet Pop, all of those things. And then we fast forward a little bit, and you were recognized by Oprah at age 12. And by
Yes, it
age
was actually, I think 11, yeah, 11 or 12. My mom had sent a video of me singing at the Super X. I was singing And I'm Telling You by the Dreamgirls, and I had won first place on the Stars on the Rise competition at the X. And when she sent that video, eventually no one uses home phones now, but at that time we had a home phone and it said, the Oprah show. And my mom's like looking at the phone and it's ringing, and she almost didn't pick it up because of like how
Spam.
frozen she was. Anyways, she answered the phone, and it was the Oprah show calling, and her production team, and saying, we watched your video and we want to feature you on the homepage of our website for an entire year. And that was like that was probably the coolest thing that has ever happened to me, because I would watch Oprah with my mom, and I never expected me to be someone that her and her team knew. And it was just, that was the stepping stone into my future performances and me really solidifying the fact that, okay, this is something that can actually happen. I can actually become a singer and share my voice more and more.
Well, I'll comment there saying that it's the coolest thing that's happened so far. There's still
Thank you.
lots more to go.
Thank you.
And then honestly, like 2 years later, 3 years later, you were standing on the Apollo stage, winning as the star of tomorrow. Now,
Yeah.
I want to ask you, with this early success, did it feel like a blessing or more of a weight, with the world expecting you to explode before you even knew who Ida was?
Um, Honestly, once I became a teenager and the anxiety started kicking in a little bit, uh, definitely it had some pressure to it, of course. But as a kid, I don't recall feeling that nervousness. I was just like, go, 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 let's get on stage, let's sing. But then obviously, as a 13, 14-year-old, you start to think, what if I should do this? Maybe I shouldn't wear that. And, the anxiety and the pressure definitely gets to you. But then still, even then, the moment I get on stage and sing the first word, it goes away to this day. Like, it's normal to get nervous in advance. You want to do your best. But then no matter what, the moment I actually start singing, it doesn't matter. It goes away. And the more people are in the audience, the more it fuels me to do even better.
Now, when we look at this resume and you've had so many accomplishments, and some would say you've lived artist dream moments, and now all of these things before releasing your debut EP, how does it
Yeah.
feel now to finally share your own songs with the world?
It definitely feels different, but not in a bad way, in a good way, because I would always sing cover songs growing up, and just to have my own songs that I wrote and that connects with me, definitely feels surreal. It's been a long time coming, and I'm 28 now, and it's definitely time to get that out there. I it's been a while, but it's what my goal is to help people, feel understood and to help them through their struggles, and that's what I want my music to do for people. And singing other people's songs is one thing, but when you have your own message and allow listeners to connect with you,
Mhm.
that's a whole other feeling.
When we talk about this feeling and finding our voice, and I love that you've said this, that, hey, now it's time to get my voice out there. Every artist has that one song that changed them. Now, do you remember if it was something that you sang or something that you wrote where it was, hey, now is my time to get this song out there and stop doing these covers? What was that moment for you?
It was the first song that I wrote, first song that I wrote for this project. Which is my first single that's coming out on October 27th. It is called Stay Away, and it explores the struggle of seeking temporary escapes from pain, the temptation of numbing pain through quick fixes, while ultimately reminding the listeners that true healing comes from peace, self-resilience, self-love, not self-resilience, resilience, self-love, and the courage to face struggles head on. And that song meant a lot to me because I was diagnosed with chronic migraine disease when I was 18. And, at the same time, I was going through, for a few years, I was in a really bad relationship that, eventually led me to become a women's advocate, actually, myself with Unifor. And that song, it has multiple interpretations and meanings to it because, when I'm saying like the lyrics, free, free, free from pain today, I'm tried so many different medications that my doctor would give me for my migraines, and I would think, oh, this is working, but then it won't. So it's like free from pain today, but it's all an illusion. It won't last for long. It'll come back to haunt you, so please don't carry on. So, having those chronic migraines at the same time as being in a bad relationship where you think everything is okay today, but then it's an illusion because tomorrow everything is going to be the complete opposite. So those two situations together really, really inspired that me to write that song. So, and I'm sure, there's many people going through similar situations with either chronic illness, toxic relationships, um, and I really think that this song would connect with people that way.
So I mean, there's a lot there, and I love this, and well, love and hate at the same time. But part of it would be with the chronic migraine syndrome disease, illness. What my question would be is that do you think that maybe performing from three all the way up to 18 and now 28, that being around the speakers, the sound checks, those earpieces, and that noise may have contributed to the onset of this? Not saying that that it's not a beautiful voice and it's not worth doing and
Yeah.
passion, but I'm just curious if that would be a, hey, that it could be.
I think it definitely exacerbated the situation, but like it's in my genetics. My aunt, my great grandmother, they all had migraine disease, and from age 18 till 23 or around 24, I was experiencing around 25 migraines a month, and it led me to had to quit my job. I had to switch to online university well before COVID. I just it was it was too much. I couldn't perform. I was always just home in bed. It took a huge part of my life away. Anytime I wanted to go out and do something, I would plan something and then I'd get a migraine and then that would be ruined. So, having that happen at the same time as going through, university, bad relationships, it was a lot. And it almost felt impossible for me to perform at the rate that I was. There were still some performances here and there that I did, one of them being the World Championships of Performing Arts. I was 19 at that time. And it was difficult, but I had a migraine during those performances, but I had to pretend as if it didn't exist and still put on a show. And I still ended up getting gold medals and a $40,000 scholarship to the New York Film Academy, um, which I'm honored, but I couldn't even use it because it's even though it's a $40,000 scholarship, it's you can use 10,000 per year, but it costs like $50,000 US per year. And there's no way I could afford that. But just having that scholarship and knowing that, I was one of the chosen ones for that scholarship just felt really cool. Um,
I
yeah, so
I want to backpedal with something that you had said for a moment, and I just want to
yeah.
get your take on this. And we're in a bad relationship, which led you to be an advocate and a larger voice for these relationships. If people are in those relationships, they're scared, right? They're not sure how to get out of it. They're not sure how to pick themselves up. What's something that you could share with us, advise with us that says, hey, this is the best thing that we could be looking at to get help and support? And at the same breath, Ida, how can I'll say male counterparts support their friends and colleagues and family who are going through something like you went through, to be supportive and to help?
Being by their side, um, letting them know, how much they mean to them, to not to make sure that they don't forget their worth, because that's one thing that when you end up in a situation where you're with someone that slowly pulls you away from your friends and your family, and you don't even realize what's going on. And it's really hard to explain, because if I think about it now, if that were to happen, I would know right away, like, oh no, this is not for me. But as an 18-year-old, you think you know everything, but you don't. And even now, you learn every day. Everyone makes mistakes. And just, if people notice that there's something off about this person, that I what I mean by this person is me, like, that you're not talking as much, or your personality seems to have become more subdued, there must be something wrong. There probably is something wrong. So never stop the support in terms of being with that person. That's one thing. It's like that physical connection, like, just, it's hard. It's so hard for me to explain this, because I wasn't just trying to remember it as well. uh
It sounds like it's this support piece. If you feel that
yeah,
someone's going through this, don't, say, "Hey, I told you so," or hindsight. It's just
exactly, yeah.
always
It's
be there,
not
pick up
about,
the call, pick up the text.
right, exactly, yeah.
Okay. It's just, so many people that go through these things and people say, well, I want to help, but I don't know how. And I gave you a link, or I introduced you to so and so. And, sometimes trying to fix a problem that no one asked for a solution for, right? And
Yeah,
people who go through this, it's great to know that, hey, just keep reaching out, keep being
right.
there for the people. And that's the best you can do until they're ready to make a step.
My one piece of advice for anyone going through this would be, if you feel something in you that is telling you there is something off, or something doesn't feel right, trust your gut, trust your instinct. Don't uh, don't wait it through and think, oh, it must be nothing, or it's just one time, or none of that. Trust your instinct, and the earlier you recognize that there is something wrong, and the sooner you tell yourself, there is a whole world out there, I can make something of myself, I don't need any of this, the better, because it things can get dangerous. And the longer you wait, and it's difficult for people to get out of certain situations, because uh, you don't know how people can be manipulated or controlled. And don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
you know People are not going to judge you. People are not going to think, oh, that person's weak, they're asking for help. If you need it, go to the therapy, join clubs, eat dessert. I don't know. Do
No,
do
I
something
hear
that
you. I get
makes
that
you
dopamine. Yeah.
happy.
When you're up there on the stage performing and your song "Stay Away," which I've had the opportunity to listen to, and it's a beautiful song.
Thank you.
When that song is done and Ida walks off stage and we're the fans, begging you for autographs in the lineup as you enter your private limo with all the cameras going off, it's coming. Um, what's your hope that we get to take away from that song and from your performance?
uh that I'm just like everyone else, that I go through things as well. And just because I know how to sing and I'm performing on stage in front of people doesn't mean that I don't understand what you're going through. And I want my music to create a safe space for people, to be able to feel understood, and less alone in their struggles. So that's what I want people to take from my music is, you know, wow, we're really alike, or she really understands what I'm going through. So that's definitely important, to write about songs that mean something to you, but also will help connect with other people, to feel like we're friends.
Mhm.
I get you.
So when we talk about that connection and the I get you and the walk away moments, there's a confidence in your performance because you've been doing this for a very long time, but there's also real and vulnerability in your songs. How do you
Yeah.
balance these two sides of yourself when you're on stage, showing us that you're vulnerable and relatable, but still having the confidence to get up there and rock out a sold out stadium like Scotiabank or ACC with hundreds of thousands of people watching you? It's coming.
Um, I don't, something, when I go on stage, something just clicks. Like, no matter what is happening in my life at that moment, it's as if that the aspect of just, okay, now it's time for you to go on stage sort of feels like, okay, that's you're at your therapy session. Let it all out. Sing as loud as you can. So it kind of works in my favor because if I'm feeling upset or just going through something, that feeling of being on stage and sharing my voice and just seeing other people smile, that's what helps cure me. So, it's I'm doing this for you, but I'm also doing it for myself and I'm doing it for the world and we're all in this together sort of thing. And yeah, it's pretty much.
You've said something here, we're all in this together. And I don't know. I think you're going to go home later tonight or next week and you're going to not be able to let go of that keyword of we're all in this together. It's going to be on your new album, I'm telling you. Um, but when we talk about these stages and the lights and the glamour and that switch that flips when you get out there to sing it to everybody, you've worked with Grammy nominated producers, shared stage with legends, and now you're releasing your EP here. What feels different about this chapter of your career compared to when you first started?
Uh, the difference is that I feel like I'm now fully in control and I get to write my own story. I get to, because as a kid, it's not that it's bad or anything, but your mom is your manager. You do what she says, and it's I'm still the one who wanted to perform. I wasn't forced or anything. But then again, I'm not the ones writing the emails, making the connections, the phone calls, arranging performances, and just having that full control now as an adult, and curating my own path, writing my own story definitely feels powerful. And yeah.
So when we talk about this, I mean, your mom's your manager. Now you're able to do your voice, and everything was a blessing to get to where you are with all of the love and support.
Yeah.
And you've been on people's radars since you were 12. Yet you still feel like a new voice breaking out today. How do you think that mix of being, let's say, seasoned from performing at 3, 12, 14, winning all these awards, sharing the stages, and being fresh gives you this advantage now?
Well, I mean, having an extensive resume definitely helps. And just knowing the things that I have accomplished and putting that all together, that's what also drives me because it was still me on stage, my voice. I got those awards, and I worked really hard, and I practiced my whole life, and it I feel like it even now at this point when not many people know me yet for my own artistry. Maybe people remember me as a kid, but as an original artist, I'm completely brand new. And even though I have all those accomplishments, I still feel like, I'm starting from the bottom here and I'm working my way up. No matter what I have accomplished, I still have a lot of work to do, a lot of people to reach, and my goal is again to make people feel understood. And when I reach that point where there's a whole crowd that knows my songs that relate to me, that's when I would feel like, okay, I've uh, I've accomplished that goal here. It doesn't have to be millions of people. Even if it's just a group of 10 people who say, "You've really helped me. You helped me get through this." Like that means a lot to me. So uh, that is my goal with that. And you know, just again, like the feeling in control and feeling more powerful. It's a beautiful thing, honestly. You know, especially with the things I've went through and just feeling like, I can make my own decisions and perform whatever I feel, whatever I write, is a great thing. And uh, yeah, speaking of practice as well, you know, when you're a kid, even though I was performing on stage, performing all these popular songs, in the back of my head, I'm still a kid. And I'm like, I remember just thinking, okay, if I do well, I'm going to get a cheeseburger Happy Meal. I wonder what toy I'm going to get. Like, these are my thoughts right before I go on stage and sing in front of the mayor. And, I'm 10 years old. There was this one moment where uh, I had to learn a Cantonese song, and I had a week. I was 9, and I was invited to sing for the Chinese New Year celebration. And I remember my mom, picking me up early from school, and we went to Chinatown and we went door to door to all the restaurants and stores. And she was, "Can you teach my daughter Cantonese? She needs to learn how to pronounce this song correctly." So I had a week to practice that song and memorize a Cantonese song at 9 or 10 years old. And then I did, and I sang it in front of the mayor of Ottawa. And I think I still even remember some words, but yeah, like I think I went off here on a little tangent, but it is a pretty cool story to tell.
And when we talk about this power and this control and this decision making, and we say, okay, we're going to fast forward 10 years from now with the control and the power in our hands and our pockets, and outside of the paparazzi banging on the door, the screaming fans with t-shirts with your face on them, what's the dream? Where do you see Ida standing, singing, telling her story?
The dream. Um, well, one of my local dreams, at least, is I'd always want to perform at Blues Fest. It's a big music festival in Ottawa that has, huge artists that come and perform. And, that was my first concert actually that I went. It was 2008. I saw Rihanna. It was $15 at the time. And it was her first album. And, just seeing her on stage, watching my first concert and watching other singers sing, inspired me. And, that was one thing that I really wanted to do. And, speaking of legendary stages, there's already one that I was on, that the Apollo Theater. I'd love to one day perform there as my own artist and not part of a singing competition, but, have a show there. Um, also reach people on social media, and that's a big thing. And, once social media is out, you can't go back now. You gotta build those platforms, and sometimes just reach people online, and even throw some online shows. But just performing as much as I can. Selling out an arena one day. I'm in Ottawa, so that would be the Canadian Tire Center, like selling out where the stadium that's closest to me that I grew up going to, reaching at that, connecting my home ties to my artistry. That's honestly, that would feel the best. Singing on world stages is one thing, but then coming back and singing for people in your own hometown, that I feel that would be a whole other good feeling.
And Ida, I want to ask you a couple of questions here, kind of a get to know Ida session, if you will. And
Yeah.
Canadian Tire Place, I'm telling you, they're going to be calling you as soon as they see this eventually and say, "Hey, it's yours." Um, what's the favorite smell in the whole world for you?
Smell?
Yeah.
Uh, garlic bread.
Okay. Best type of animal to have as a pet.
Cats. Always cats.
Favorite color you never wear.
Red? I like the color red, but I don't own too many things that are red actually.
No.
Yeah,
What's your guilty go-to food?
Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you a coffee or tea type of person?
Coffee. I love coffee. For some reason, tea gives me migraines. It triggers my migraines, and coffee controls them and helps them. And I don't go a day without coffee. I love my Tim Hortons. Yes, I'm that person. I will go get my medium double double and go to work, and sometimes make coffee at home as well and bring it. But uh, yeah, I love my coffee.
And what's a hidden talent outside of music that you'd like to share with us?
I do voiceovers. I love making noises. If sometimes if you even if I'm at work, like if someone hears a funny noise in the background, they know like, oh, that's Ida. She's making noises again. It it feels like an addiction a little bit. I have to sometimes I have to really like tell myself, no, don't make those sounds. Like control yourself. But like my blood boils if I don't like let certain sounds out.
Uh, what what's your favorite sport to watch?
Hockey.
And what's your favorite sport to play?
Favorite sport to play. I don't really play sports. I'm not really. I'm
So,
an artist. I'm not a big sports person. I was on the field hockey team in middle school. That's pretty much it. Um, I love just going for walks, if you consider that a sport. I love going for walks outside in the nature and, especially during sunset, somewhere near water. Yeah,
well, you're
so
in Ottawa, so
walking
there's
is my
tons around.
yeah, walking is my favorite sport.
Walking is your favorite sport. Okay. The worst piece of advice you've ever been given.
The worst piece of advice. Oh, that's good enough. It's just if it's good enough, then you don't have to keep trying. It's never good enough. I don't believe in the word good enough. You need to feel like, okay, what I just did, whatever situation it is, I feel 100% with it. There is no, it was 80%, it was okay, and I'm, not that I'm saying like, don't be happy with something you've accomplished if it wasn't perfect, but don't just settle for that and think that you can't go even further.
And if someone gave you a magic wand and you could give one thing to the world tomorrow, what would it be?
World peace and love, because it seems like the world really needs that right now. The world needs more love.
And Ida, where can people learn more about you?
Where can people learn more about me? Well, I am still building my social media and I definitely need more followers. So go on my Instagram, my TikTok, Facebook at Ayda Khan Music. And I'm also posting more videos on YouTube. I have an old YouTube page from when I was a kid that I just can't get into because it's connected with an old phone number. And I just locked out of that account. So I made a new one where I have a playlist of my old videos and I'm going to be starting to post more. But yeah, to connect with me on social media, message me, tell me about yourself. People want to learn about me, but I also want to learn about you.
Mhm.
Who are my fans?
And Ida, I have time for one last question for you today. And thank you so much for being here with me on Coffee with Chris. Is what makes Ida Khan smile?
Makes me smile. Um, my cat. My cat. I'm obsessed with my cat. His name is Youthbeath. It's a very strange name, but it basically means like I made it up like you be, you just are, you exist. So I put that together, and that's actually one of the sounds that I continuously make when I call my cat. And it's sort of like a yodel, but I would go, "Oh, Youthbeath," and that just doing that, that's what makes me smile. And that's very weird, but that's me. Um, I can't go a day without saying my cat's name.
I love that. That's fantastic. And as I said, that was the last question I had for you today on Coffee with Chris. Everyone out there, our fantastic guest today, Ayda Khan. Make sure you get out there, listen to her single, Stay Away, when it drops on October 27th. Get to Google, get to Yahoo, Ask Jeeves, whatever it is that you're using, and find her. You're going to absolutely love her music. Thank you again so much for your time, Ada.
Thank you
Every,
so much.
everyone out there, remember to smile to inspire and have yourselves a fantastic day.